Hey everyone, welcome to Leadership Lifeboat Season 1, Episode 5. And tonight we're going to talk about listening. Now, listening is kind of a lost art. I mean, from the time we're children, we're told to listen. Listen to your parents. Listen to your teacher. Listen to your boss. Unfortunately, we're never really taught how to listen, right? We just have to kind of figure it out on our own. And the people who figure out how to listen well have a real advantage over those of us who maybe don't listen quite so well or who don't develop our listening skills. And if we're self-aware, we know where we are with our listening skills. Now, what I would say is that there's 4 levels of listening. And I want to talk about those 4 levels of listening and think about where you might be in terms of what level of listening you're at most of the time. The first level is level 0. And I call that listening to respond. And it's level 0 because it isn't really listening. Right? You're listening with the intent of finding a gap, finding that pause that the speaker may give you so that you can jump in and throw in your ideas and your stories, right? So when we're in level 0 listening, the focus is really all on us. The only, it's my thoughts, it's my ideas, it's what I want to say. And the only reason we're listening to the other person is we're listening for those gaps, right? Has it ever happened to you where you're at a party and you're in a conversation and you think of a great story to contribute to whatever's being said, but before you can get it out, the conversation moves on to different topics. And then you spend the rest of the time, the next 15 minutes, trying to figure out how to steer the conversation back to where it was so that you can tell your story. That's level 0 listening right there. That is listening to respond. And unfortunately, that's where most of us are stuck. We're stuck in level 0, listening to respond. Level 1 listening is what I call listening to learn. And in listening to learn, I am paying attention to the speaker and I'm listening to what the speaker says. But I'm still kind of focused on myself. I'm focused on what information can I get out of this conversation. So my attention, while I'm paying attention to what the speaker is saying, a lot of my attention is still diverted inward. And how can I use this? Now, level 1 listening isn't bad. There are many, many times when level 1 listening is appropriate. A lot of the times when we should be doing level 1 listening, we're really doing level 0 listening. But level 1 listening can either be passive or active. So when you're in a classroom, in a lecture, or you're at a meeting and somebody's talking and you're paying attention, that's passive level 1 listening. When you're in a one-on-one conversation, and a lot of management one-on-one conversations kind of fall into this. I don't think they should, but they do. Where as a manager, I'm listening to you because I need the information about what's happening with the project, or what happened with the particular client. So level 1 listening, I am paying attention, but I'm still me focused. Level 2 listening is what I call listening to understand. And in level 2 listening, I'm not only listening to what the speaker says, but I'm paying attention to the way the speaker says it and all the nonverbal cues that may be coming from that speaker that'll give me more information about where the speaker is mentally. Level 2 listening is really listening with empathy It's listening with compassion. One of the things that I say is you hear with your ears, but you listen with your brain and your eyes and your heart. And that's level 2 listening. Now, level 2 listening takes practice. It's one of those things where while it might be easy to do, it's difficult and it takes real skill to do it well. It's almost like learning a new language, right? I had an experience where I was observing, when I was in coach training, I was observing one person coaching another person. And I'm watching what's going on. And all of a sudden, the person who was coaching said, "Hey, what just happened there?" And the conversation went in a completely different direction because the coach saw some nonverbal cue that this person exhibited, and I completely missed it, right? So this person was really tuned in to not only what the person was saying, but how they were saying it and what those cues were. So it's almost like learning a new language, being able to hear or see or feel that nuance of nonverbal communication. That's level 2 listening. Level 3 listening goes to the next level, and it's what I call global listening. So imagine taking level 2 listening where you're really in tune with not only what your speaker is saying, but how they're saying it and, all the nonverbal nuances that are going on. You're really in tune with what the speaker is saying. And add on top of that an awareness of how what the speaker is saying is impacting you. So in level 3 listening, in global listening, you're almost able to step aside as an observer and observe the conversation from a third vantage point. Now, I will tell you, level 3 listening takes years, if not decades, or even a lifetime to master. Level 3 listening is usually when you find someone who's an expert in the helping professions, like an excellent therapist or an excellent counselor. They're going to be good at level 3 listening. For most leaders, for most of us, we just want to make sure that we spend our time in level 2 listening, level 1 listening when it's appropriate, but that we avoid or learn how to get out of that level 0 listening, that listening to respond. And so what I want to do in the next couple of videos is I want to talk about some specific tools that we can use to move up the levels. In other words, get ourselves out of level 0, if that's where we happen to be, and into level 1, and then on into level 2 listening. And I'll do that in the next couple of videos. So that's all for tonight. I hope to see you next time. Until then, stay warm, stay safe, and have a great week, everybody. Take care.